So, by the way, I'm drinking this amazingly delicious black honey processed Costa Rican from Cafe Rivenza, roasted by Archers. Very enjoyable. Nice, sweet, grapey kind of vibe that I'm getting from this. Good stuff. Anyways, so I was speaking to a good friend of mine, a coffee friend. His name is Naveed. He also writes about the coffee scene in the UAE on his blog, which I'll go ahead and link in the description below. I was catching up with Naveed. I just updated him and caught him up on what was going on in my life. And he said, you know what? You should make a video about this. I said, you know what? I should. And here I am. A few months back, I think this is back in July or June, I came across a colleague whom I was just casually speaking to, and we were just talking about coffee, and he's like, oh my freaking god. That was the delivery guy. My bad. So he was telling me that he knew some people in China because he's a procurement manager. He works with a lot of people in China, and he had a few links who he had bought coffee from and sold it, but this was at a commodity level, not at a specialty coffee level exactly. So I'm like, you know what? That's interesting. And he asked me, you want to try and sell it? I was like, that would be amazing if I could get in touch with someone and if I could find out what the quality is and if it could be specialty grade. I'd love to sell it to some great roasters who I know of. So a few weeks go by, we get the sample in the mail. I think it was a 1 kg sample or less of greens. And I have a bag right here of the roasted stuff, but not the greens. So it was a China Arabica Simao, 16 plus screen size, 2021 crop. It was grade AA. It was an 850 gram sample that I got. And this is all the information we got from the supplier in China. And I was a bit skeptical. I thought maybe this is a middleman. It might not be the most reliable quality, I guess, and it seems fairly commercial grade at face value to me. I don't know much about greens. This was my first time really handling greens and just getting an idea of what is supposed to be good quality. And I didn't know what to do. I was pretty confused. I just sent out an email to a bunch of people. I just casually asked like, hey, do you want to buy some greens from China? And they're like, okay, give us some more information, please. And I didn't have much information to give them. Anyways, so I got these greens. I'm like, you know what? I really want to see what these would be like, what they would taste like once they're roasted, just so I have an idea of what I'm trying to sell. And throughout the whole time, I was just worried that these are probably going to be crap. So I went to one of my favorite roasters. Their name is Archers, and I know a guy there. His name is Dave. I've taken a few workshops with him in sensory calibration and barista training workshops. Great guy. So I went down, I'm like, hey, can you do a sample roast of these for me? Just with like 200 grams or something. And he's like, we can. He was willing to do it, no charge, nothing. He's like, yeah, let's get these roasted and we can cup them after a few days after they're roasted. I came back after like 4 days. They'd somewhat degassed, I guess. Set up the cupping, had a few flights. First we got a dry aroma, kind of just got an idea of how it was after grinding the beans. And it smelled pretty alright. Like it smelled like it would be a light-bodied coffee. Anyways, we got to the cupping, and man, I was really taken aback. It was clear, it had this like smooth light body, and it was very tea-like, I'd say. I don't know if it has anything to do with the fact that it's grown in a region where tea is also grown, but I think I could taste the terroir, and it had a bit of like a spicy-ish finish to it, cinnamony, I guess. Not too vibrant or complex or crazy. It wasn't perfect. It was a good coffee for, I guess, commercial grade. I was really happy with it, and Dave was also pretty surprised. I had already given him a fair warning that this isn't coming from a specialty producer or middleman, so don't have like high hopes. We made it as an espresso, and as an espresso as well. Amazing. Great coffee. Very smooth, very good. Just had this weird bitter finish to it, which could be solved. And I think it was the roaster at Archer's Kamal. He did a great job on these. Dave told me if I would go back to the supplier, tell him like, hey, if you can take out a few elephants, get rid of a few chips and a few Quakers in the beans before shipping them out, these could be a solid 84, 85 grade coffee. And I thought like, okay, this is promising. I could do something with this. And it ended there. After that, I reached out to a few roasters. Many of them didn't get back to me. One of them wanted a sample, but they didn't have a sample roaster that would roast anything below 1 kilogram. And I only had 500 grams or so left. So it was a bit of a failed experiment, failed project, but whatever. I had a good time. I learned a lot. When I got back to the supplier, they said our season's over. We don't have any greens left. Come back next year. Great. I guess this wasn't meant to happen. That's pretty much it. I have so many things that I want to work on content-wise. The fact that I haven't spoken to a camera in so long, it's made me camera shy now. But I think the process of creating content is enjoyable for me. Like inherently, I feel like I've achieved something whenever I put out a video or a post or something. There's a bit of a dopamine hit, and I enjoy that. I like that. So I'm gonna keep doing this. I'm gonna try not to focus too much on the numbers. Yeah, I'm gonna make sure it gets done. So I have a few ideas in the idea pile. So that's it. I hope you guys have been good too. Hope you're all staying safe. Hope you're all taking care. Be happy, don't do drugs, and don't die. Bye.